Diamond Matter channel, welcome. I'm going to start immediately by saying thank you to a new patron I got this morning, Fuzz Butters. Thank you very much, Fuzz Butters. I appreciate your contributions, and yeah, if you want to support the channel yourself, it's patreon.com/Diamond Matter, link in the description if you'll click on that. Basically, long story short, I've been a jeweller for 25, almost 30 years now if I count. Got a lot of experience, taught by some of the best in the country, became one of the best in the country myself, and now I live in Japan, so I'm making jewellery making tutorials for people to share the skill that I was lucky enough to acquire. So that's what this channel's about. Yeah, talking to patrons, this video is going to be an answer to a question I was asked from a recent patron. They want some advice on making court-shaped rings. So when I worked in London, I served customers plenty of times, and by far the most common style of ring men would choose would be court shape. And I think it's because, like, as a wedding band, I think it's because most men, like not all, but most men don't wear rings, like, or any jewellery even. So you get from birth, childhood, young adulthood. It's not until they get married they're faced with like, oh crap, I've got to wear a ring now for the rest of my life. Basically, I reckon because they're a bit reluctant to do it, or nervous, or something, they just want something that looks what they like, but it's got to be comfortable. So court shape is the most comfortable, and it retains a lot of weight in it as well. So court shape, if you don't know, is like rounded on the inside and the outside. It's a good shape because they look and feel heavy, but they're actually easy to get on and off more than like flat. My one is flat. I've got two wedding rings. One I made myself an 18 karat white, and then I ended up just wearing one of these with a feature hallmark around the outside that I made to sell and never sold. I would start wearing it myself. So this ended up my wedding ring. My one, basically the general rule is the more heavy gauge and the wider, the more masculine it looks. When you go more lightweight and more thin, they get more feminine. So whatever you like the look of. I'd say most men go for, like, this is a strip I'm going to be doing in this video. This is 4mm. I think that looks like a normal-ish men's wedding band, perhaps on the thin side. 5mm might be more normal. My one's a bit of a beast because I'm so masculine. Mine's 6.8 wide, and then thickness in the metal is 1.9. So that's a bit of a chunk, and that is quite often uncomfortable. If I put that on and I pick up a heavy bag, that's digging into my hand a lot. So uncomfortable, flat on the inside, because you've got this sharp corner on the edge. It's not nice to wear. If that was rounded on the inside, it would look thinner on the side, but it'd be much more comfortable to wear. So court shape is the most sensible, and yeah, most men go for it, which is the best decision, I think. So I didn't really have any specific measurements in mind when I milled this out. I just flattened a bit of metal that I thought I could use. So yeah, ended up just under 4, and then 1.9, call it, thickness. There's a lot of depth there that looks really thick on the side, but we're gonna round off the top, we're gonna round it off there, so those edges sort of meet in the middle, so it looks thinner on the side. But I think it's important to have a decent start with a decent bit of thickness, and the ring retains a decent amount of weight. So anyway, I'm going to anneal that now, and we'll start milling it and doing stuff to it. When you're annealing metal, don't blast your flame across it that way. You'll do the job, but it'll take longer, and you're wasting a lot of the heat of the flame. Turn your torch so your flame is going along the piece, then you've got the full length of the flame, all the heat it can offer going on the piece all the time. You'll do a better job. Less chance of missing a bit as well. So you've got the whole thing evenly warmed up. Hottest part of the flame is the tip of that blue bit. Just keep it moving. As it starts to go cherry red silver is annealed, I think, but as soon as you see that, I back off with the flame. So it's the cooler part of the flame, bit more woolly, bit more licky, and you're sort of aiming to get the whole thing evenly hot, not like cherry red there and then didn't quite get that hot and then just the ends. Yeah, you want to get the whole thing hot evenly. So putting it in my widest D section, what I do is my mills, I close them up, push that in position, and I'm sort of pushing it against the mills, and then simultaneously open it till it goes through, and then just tighten up a bit more. I sort of know where I am then, like how hard I'm about to crush it. So yeah, God, I haven't done this for years. I'm gonna mill one side. This strip of metal's too long really for doing this, but I'll go anyway. Okay, I can crush it a lot harder than that. I might end up going down to the next one. I think it will go in there. Okay, giving it a bit of roundy action. And then I'm going to turn it over and do the other side. It's still flat across that bit. I haven't totally rounded it off. You can do the entire job with a file, but when you do that, you're wasting a lot of metal. You're just turning it into dust to throw away. Okay, that is actually pretty good. That was all that took. That's gonna work on it with a file, but that basically has started me off nicely. I'm gonna anneal it again, then turn it up into a ring, and then I'll show you how I work on it with a file. Literally surrounded by jewellery making tools. I'll start bending it with my fingers. Okay, let's go a bit bigger. This is for a man. By the way, if you're making stock to sell online, remember, men don't really wear jewellery, so don't bother making men's jewellery. It won't sell easily. I can vouch for that with 6 gem set skull rings that I've had for about 5 years. Just gonna get the ends kind of correct, then close them up, then I'll cut through them, get them nice. Oh, loads of tension on that. Back out the acid. I'm just going to file the lump of solder off from around the join. These ring stretchers and compressors are a good tool for this. If you just want to get obviously if you really stamp that in there, it's going to size it down, but you can just use them just to sort of tweak the edge and get things really round. So it's nice if you can get it in a hole where it's just on the edge. That one's a bit too small. This one will just size it down. You want to get it hitting directly on the edge and do it the same amount, both. One side and the other. It puts a line on the ringlet where you can see where it touched and hit that. That might work. Let's try this. Make sure it's flat. Yeah, it's a bit better. That'll do. It helped a little bit. So you can see the lines where it touched on there. Where that's hit, it's perfectly round. There's a good guide for doing this. So I feel like I should work on the inside first a little bit. I mean, that essentially already is court shape, but normally court shapes that people want to buy are a little bit more court shape, if that makes sense. And you totally don't have to match the curvature, this side and that side. You could have that quite flat. You could have that completely flat and then just rounded on the inside. Well, that's not a court shape, that's like a reverse D, I would call that. But yeah, usually you'd have a sort of more subtle curve on the top half and then more rounded on the inside. This helps for comfort. So yeah, to simply get a half round ring file and just go around it. Turn it a bit, file it a bit, turn it, file it a bit. And try and be methodical, turn it the same amount, file it the same amount, and then rotate it again. Make sure your file's at the same angle every time. Maybe start from where you know you can find the original starting place, like the join obviously is an obvious one. So I'm just putting more of an angle on, so sharpening that outside edge a bit. Not a lot of work. So that's as far as I'm taking the inside, and I don't know if you can see that I have basically, I did this on purpose, that's just flat. I haven't tried to sort of do some clever action to make it nice and round across the centre. I've just basically gone round it, flat. Very easily turn that round. I would just get a coarse whizzer. Oh, I ain't got a new one there. But anyway, I'd get one of these, more coarse, and then just go round it, where I filed it, and then I'd tilt it in a little bit more, straighten it up, and then that just take that little sort of edge off, and then after polishing that will just appear to be perfectly rounded inside. So yeah, I think filing it straight and doing the same amount as you go around as you file it is a best way to get that curvature evenly matched all the way around. If you start trying to do something clever like that action and that action at the same time, totally possible, but I like this way because I can really see what I'm doing and how the curve is the same all the way around. So going around the outside, I'm looking at that flat of that side, and then same really. I'm not doing this, I'm just putting a flat on there. Rotate it a bit, file it the same amount with the same pressure, doing the same action, just go all the way around. On the top I will go over it and put a curve on with the files. This is just how I do them, and actually doing this job. It's been years since I've handmade a court ring. Difficult, if you've got to cut that through and put a piece in, difficult to do it nicely and get it hidden. Trying to match the curvature up and stuff. So anyway, just sharpening up that outer side. Might go a bit more. A minor adjustment, taking the weight off my file, you can probably tell how it sounds. So what the file is doing is less severe. Okay, now I'm going to go for this action now. So I'm going over the top of the ring, but I'm also rolling the file over at the same time. If you do a lot of this, your bench peg will wear out, and it is really convenient for how your file slips. This needs a bit of work, this bench peg still. See that? I'm going over it and rolling the file over. Again, same action, same pressure, same amount of movement. You should end up, you can see it's sort of making a pattern on there. Is that showing up on camera? There's a bit of a pattern where it's like showing that I'm doing it the same as I move along. A little bit more, a bit less pressure. Good thing with pushing it down in that ring compressor as well, it straightens it out. If there's any kind of twisting going on with your handmade ring, it flattens it out. Papering these up, I would just go straight to quite a coarse grade whizzer. Touch the inside all the way around. And then perhaps, I think, yeah, I would just go over that inner edge as a flat, just the same. Because these coarse paper ones, they can cut into the metal quite a lot. You've got to be a bit careful with them. So just get rid of the file marks. And then, once I've gone all the way around it, there's no file marks, just tilt it a bit more straight and just go over that corner. And that is all you need to make it appear really rounded on the inside edge. And then after polishing as well, it'll be even more rounded off. So same again, do the flat, and then doing the flat that angle, and then go around it, just tilt it in a little bit. You have a nice even curve all the way around the inside. When you're happy with the inside, go to the outside. Again, holding it straight, same angle. I'm not afraid of putting a bit of a flat around the ring. It's good, so I can see this line that's the same angle, like even all the way around the ring. If you just start doing this all the way over it, you might have some lumps and stuff that will be difficult to get out. And now I'm looking down on it and I'm going to sweep over it like that. There you go, next step, next stage. I work like this because I like to have control over the outcome. There are plenty of jewellers that would just file a curve all the way around, they'd paper it like this right from the start, and they would still do a good job. But I enjoy not only just getting a good result, I sort of enjoy the process. I try and find ways that make sense. Okay, so that's as far as I'm going to take it for this video, but yeah, for a handmade ring, that's quite accurate. Like, say this is where you might be in for a shock. Like, say you sat here working for me and I asked you to make one of these, I would take it off you and I'd get my loop out and I'd look at the curvature. I'd be going around it. You see look at that top, yeah? I'm looking at it with magnification and I'm rotating it, and I want to see that curve just uniform all the way around, not suddenly going flatter or suddenly going like taller or whatever. Then I'm also looking at the sides. Is that flat around the sides? Is that flat around there? Nice and even, both sides. Checking the inside as well, curvature of the inside. Easier to hide a bad job on the inside, but where there's a difference between excellent jewellers and just kind of okay jewellers is excellent jewellers will really care about even the parts where you can get away with doing a bad job. They will still try really hard to do an excellent job. So yeah, feels good. That's a rough finish, yeah? And I haven't even papered the sides, that's still filed on the sides. So next, I would paper the sides, then go to the more like fine grades. If you've got these whizzers and they're really big, that's helpful when they're a big diameter for going around the inside of rings. Less severe ability to cut through the metal, so you haven't got to worry too much about going flat and then doing that. I literally would just do it like, just go over it like that, because that's just getting rid of very minor buff marks. So yeah, you got to paper it a lot more, especially when you work in gold and platinum. If you're making one of these in platinum, give you a heads up, you have to do a ton of papering on the inside edge, because you can only polish the inside with like a felt polishing stick thing, yeah, finger felt, whatever they're called. So spinning that way, and you put the whizzers in, all the lines are going the same way. You literally, I would say, you just can't polish out lines, especially in platinum, it's such a hard wearing metal. So unless you get a round buff stick and then buff it that way, it might actually be a good idea. Yeah, polishing it, you won't remove lines, so you are having to go from filing to the coarse ones, to the medium ones, to the fine ones, to the really fine ones, and you have to do loads and loads of work on the inside, because polishing will just highlight lines and it won't get rid of them. So if you get to the polishing stage and then see it's all liney on the inside, you've basically got to go back to the bench and then go back to your more coarse whizzers again and get rid of those lines. So yeah, happy days, have fun with that.